The other day, I went to this Beatlesfest. Beatlesfest. You know, Beatlesfest. It's like they had it out at the Meadowlands. Out at where was it? Out at Secaucus. At a hotel one door over from the mighty Channel 9 Studios, WOR, and you pass the building and you look at, the first thing you see are those satellite dishes that G.G. Allen hid in after he ran off the set of People Are Talking with Richard Bay and was running from the police. He hid in a satellite dish. That's pretty cool. Look, this guy was a creep. Horrible guy. Hid in a satellite dish. That's. So I go to this thing because I got a couple people. I like to go to it, but I got people in my life like to go to it too. So we all go. Everybody goes. They all meet up and have a grand old time at the thing. I got sciatica, right? And I'm fighting the fight. I'm like, yeah, I'll go. Get myself ready to go to this thing. So I get there on Friday. I'm walking around looking at the stuff. And now the guest lineup this year was Denny Sewell, who drummed on the first couple Paul McCartney records. Henry McCulloch, who played on Red Rose Speedway and Hi, Hi, Hi. And, that's right, Mark Hudson, you know him from the Hudson Brothers? He did some work with Ringo. He's there all the time. And they have these things. There's a ballroom where there's different events going on, and then there's bands playing on stage, and then there's a marketplace where they sell things. And then there's like a conference room where they have like discussions about the Beatles. So I'm at this thing. I'm looking around that marketplace. I can't find two things I'm interested in. This thing. Yeah, buy a Beatles towel. It's just stuff with the Beatles thrown on it. It's a coat hanger with the Beatles on it. So then I go to this one panel. The author of this new John Lennon book is going to be there, talking about the new book. Oh, that sounds interesting. I'll go watch that. I go in the room, I'm sitting there. Yeah, it got canceled. He didn't make it. So then there's this other panel starts, 15 minutes later. The panel is, I'm trying to think what it was called. It was called something. Basically, I don't even know what it was called. The gist of the panel was, what songs should Paul McCartney be doing live that he isn't? Unbelievable. Maybe the most uninteresting thing I've ever been a part of in my entire life. And they're up there. It's a table up there. Six guys. Six grown men up there. And they're having this discussion. There's this one guy from FUV, that station? That station is atrocious, by the way. That is like the worst radio I've ever heard in my life. You know that station, Mike? It's terrible. I don't know who that's meant for. It's like you trace back the history of the lineage of that station. It's like 10,000 Maniacs. Like that's the stuff that's like the core music of that. It's like that's like roots rock for them. Like a 10,000 Maniacs album. So these grown men are on stage talking about what songs should Paul McCartney be doing live. What songs should he be doing? You know, he should like what if he did "Oh Darling" live? He hasn't done "Oh Darling." What if he did "Your Mother Should Know"? Like, I can't believe I'm watching this. Like, I'm literally in a room watching guys talk into microphones, and then now all of a sudden it became perversely fascinating. I can't move. This has become the greatest thing I've ever seen. Well, what if he did "Good Night Tonight"? Could he do that one? What if he did "Take It Away" from Tug of War? It's like, what are we just naming stuff? Just naming songs he doesn't do a lot? I want to say, "Check My Machine." I want to start yelling out like songs from obscure, like from McCartney 2. Odd Socks Lunchbox. These guys are, I mean, they're in a full discussion. And this one guy, there's a guy from FUV up there. And look, I heard someone say this. I didn't say this. Someone said they walked in the room and they saw the people at the panel and they said, "Is this some sort of To Catch a Predator reunion with those guys on stage?" I said, "That's offensive." I said, "These guys can't help the way they look. Maybe except for the clothes they wear and the ridiculous beards they get. So outside of that, they can't help it. And physical fitness could factor in. So outside of those three things, selection of clothes, grooming / facial hair, physical fitness, these guys can't help it." I said, "You take that back. These guys this does not look like a To Catch a Predator cast reunion on that stage." So I'm watching this thing going, and one guy starts, "Did you see Paul McCartney when he did the Kisses on the Bottom concert online? His voice was horrible." I was like, it's like they got Paul McCartney on trial here. It's like, you realize, I've never seen a thing where guys manage to leech the fun out of, like, I left that thing hating the Beatles. Like, I don't think I like the Beatles anymore. I think those guys made me not like them anymore. What if he did Daytime, Nighttime Suffering? Well, that's a great song. You know that song, Mike? It was a B-side. Wasn't on an album. Do that, Girl School. Hey, look, there's a lot of ones I'd like to hear. I'm not getting in on this discussion. Whatever the guy wants to play, he can play. You know, if the guy'd like to hear Junior's Farm, that's Mr. McCartney's business, what he plays. So I'm watching this discussion, and then God help me, I go back on Sunday to this thing. Oh, you know who's there? Mickey Dolenz is at this thing. How could I forget that? Mickey Dolenz is there. And usually it's a thing they pay the person to show up, and then they come and they sign autographs for everybody. Like they do a couple autograph signings, and the autographs are free. Mickey Dolenz charges $20 a pop for a signature. Can you imagine $20 for this guy to sign an album? $20. Then I go on Sunday. I walk in that big ballroom. There's there's going to be a battle of the bands, and then, but before it, there's like a discussion where it's like Denny Sewell and Mark Hudson and Henry McCulloch and some other guy, Peter Asher from Peter and Gordon is up there, and Mickey Dolenz is up there, and they're talking about the old days. And you think, oh, no, there's guys up there. They saw a lot of the things these guys have seen. This should be interesting. Oh. I never saw more of, I was never I don't even know what I was looking at with this thing. It's like they're up there talking about, it's like, I want to see this. I want to see these guys up there talking about stuff. Maybe they talk about the days when they made music, not when they were 10-year-olds listening to music. Yeah, I remember when I first got my copy of 20 Flight Rock and heard that. And then remember when I heard the Everly Brothers. It's like, I don't care about it. Like, Everly, it's like, these guys, how about you tell us some stories about things you guys saw? Not talking about the records you bought. Oh. And Mickey Dolenz is sitting up there. It was like a cadaver up there. He said he didn't say 2 words. He said, I think he was asleep. He had sunglasses on and a cowboy hat. Look, this guy was like he was above the whole thing. Don't do it. You don't want to do the thing. Go home. Don't take the money. I walked out on it. I walk in. Finally, Mickey Dolenz says something. He says something about Lonnie Donegan. I walk back out. Got to listen to Mickey Dolenz talk about a Lonnie Donegan record. Whoever conducted that panel, come on. It's like sometimes you talk to someone, you got to talk to them about the things you want to learn about, not just the thing they want to talk about. Yeah, these dudes will talk about the old days, the records they bought all the livelong day. I don't care. Then the battle of the band starts. And this, let me just say, might be time for someone to organize a rogue Beatles convention. Because all that's going on at this thing is like talk of like, it's like they're rebranding the Beatles with like peace and love. Like, might as well call it 60s Fest. Yeah, it's 60s. It's the phony version of the 60s Fest. Peace and love. Peace and love. Peace and love. Like, it was like... Then there's this British dude who was the announcer for the thing, the moderator. He's on stage talking. And then this kid yells out. Like, he walks by, he's like, "Evening, governor." Like this little kid. It's one of the best moments of the whole thing. Like, that's literally what some creepy kid from New Jersey thinks an English person is. "Evening, governor." Like a Monty Python routine. But yeah, it's like, they're doing peace and love, peace and love. Meanwhile, this thing's in Secaucus. It's 8 miles away. Is downtown New York. You had John Lennon lived down there. You can't get any of the dirtbags from Elephant's Memory to show up at this thing, tell stories. Like, they don't fit the narrative of the thing. They don't fit the narrative. Get what's his face, David Peel there. Gotta tell stories. Then this battle of the band starts, and it's hosted by this guy Ken Dashow. I don't know if anybody knows Ken Dashow. I think he's one of those WNEW type DJs. Ken Dashow, and he's up there, boring everyone to tears. Then it's like these bands are going up playing Beatles songs, and they're fine. It's fun. Everybody's having they're having a good time playing their stuff. Then Ken Dashow goes, this is a pretty exciting thing going on here, and it's pretty awesome to see the music of the Beatles still resonating with everybody like this, and I don't think 50 years from now we're going to see a Rihanna convention going. It's like, what? Like, yeah, well, let's keep that alive a little more. The dumb, classic rock mentality. Like, single out a woman, like a pop person of color doing it. Like, I'm not trying to get on a soapbox here, but it's like that's just like gets dismissed. It's like the same with the disco sucks stuff again. It's like, that's really the card you're going to play? Not going to see we're not going to see a Red Hot Chili Peppers convention either. Not going to see any convention. Ken Dashow. Thought Gary the Squirrel was there on top of his head. I yelled out, "Hey Gary, what are you doing on Ken's head? On Ken Dashow's head?" I thought that was Gary up there. I thought Gary was getting a free ride at the Beatlesfest, laying on Ken Dashow's head. Go after Rihanna. I don't think we'll see a Rihanna convention here 50 years from now. What other conventions are there? Is there a Led Zeppelin? Like, Led Zeppelin couldn't be bigger. There's no Led Zeppelin convention. You creep. Classic rock creeps. Shameful. Shame on you, Ken Dashow. Then they show then there's like a panel, Bob Dylan and the Beatles. I'm like, ooh, this could be interesting. And this guy, the one bridge guy, basically he does this quote unquote panel. It's a commercial for his this Bob Dylan tribute album he's been a part of. And he showed a video of them making this. It's like the connection was so tenuous to the Beatles. It's like, everyone knows that John Lennon was a huge fan of Bob Dylan. Like, and George wrote songs with him. And this tribute album, I worked on one that was for Darfur a couple years ago. With somebody just put a picture of Ken Dashow up on the Friends of Tom chat. I think that is Gary the Squirrel. It's him. It's a picture of him and little Steven. Might be time for Ken Dashow to get the name of little Steven's babushka maker. Might be time to get some scarves, buddy. So I did a tribute album for Darfur. It was John Lennon's songs, and Yoko Ono was kind enough to donate the songs. And then some dude goes, ooh, like does like a Yoko, like a huge loud Yoko Ono shriek. And then the guy's like, "Please keep it down." It's like, I don't know how I felt about that moment. It was a little offensive. But, yeah. But it was, also, it did sound, I don't know if he was trying to do a racist version of Yoko Ono, or if he was just doing a Yoko Ono shriek. Like, oh, like, "Please keep it down." And this guy rolls this video he did for this Bob Dylan tribute album. And he shows this thing of this had to have been the worst song I've ever heard in my life. Forever Young, the song Forever Young, done by Pete Seeger. I wonder if do we have that anywhere? Can someone get me a copy of that, a link? What is that called? I think the album's called Chimes of Freedom. Is that in the new bin out there? Yeah, and out, people are asking in the chat. Last year, I told the story of out in the lobby. These dudes play Beatles songs, and they're just strumming their guitars away. Those guys are actually at least they're in the spirit of something. They're having some fun. This Pete Seeger version of Forever Young. They show this thing. It's like, look, Pete Seeger. That's not my deal. Pete Seeger. We're actually going to watch a discussion of Pete Seeger and a Bob Dylan thing now. Pete Seeger taking axe handle to the mixing, the soundboard. Should have invited him to the Beatlesfest. He could have taken an axe handle to the mixing board at that thing. Is that in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the axe that Pete Seeger tried to smash the soundboard with at the Newport Folk Festival? But this version, because he's like, I think you should be forever young. Forever young. Forever young. Like he's talking it. And then at the end, you hear a kid's voice go, you're never too old to change the world. What? What's that mean? You're never too old to change. Old people run the world. Ugh. It's Beatlefest. I might be done. I might be done with Beatlefest. That might have been it. Till they start inviting dirtbags. I got to get some of those degenerates from Elephant's Memory. Played with John Lennon. Get some of those guys there.